Thank you so much. It's an amazing meeting and amazing sharing. I'm very sorry I'm in darkness, but it's my reality really, and I do happy to hear your voice, and thank you so much. So my question is, what is your experience with the results of practicing or working of step 4? So, I mean, the changes towards people, towards attitude, and maybe you had some resistance, some obstacles to accept principles that we begin practicing after step 4. Thank you so much.
Good question. Thank you. Thank you, Rena. Very good question. Well, there's a lot there. One thing I found was that what was helpful was my sponsor had me first do the written questions. Perhaps you've already done, I don't know, from the Under Earners Anonymous website, which are like little inventories and before leading up to step 4. So you could say that sort of prepared the soil. I just want to say that there were some very incisive questions. Now, when we got finally to step 4, obstacles I have had, changes I have experienced. Well, the obstacle, of course, is shouldn't say of course, but for me, it's of course my own resistance. And I would say the obstacle would be, let me take a pause for a moment. I would say an obstacle is largely a lot of the time unconscious, but I'm conscious enough of it, which is shame. Growing up in the family I did, where there was a lot of addiction, and I don't so much dwell on the past, the family that much today, consciously, but I do in myself the effects of shame to be sharing, knowing that when I write these things, I will be sharing with someone else and needing to let someone else know these parts of myself that I felt embarrassed about in shame. And of course, my sponsor, who had already worked all the 12 steps Under Earners Anonymous, is very compassionate and I think wise, and very wise and compassionate, and just listened and encouraging. But nevertheless, yes, resistance, unconscious shame, and also this is something I'll just say. The feeling of the resistance, it ties in because it is all resistance. It's inertia, not feeling. One of the things that this program has helped me a lot is to find my old thing, perhaps you've heard, exertion, exhaustion, and it's one of the effects, burn hot and then burn out. And so I find a balance with it, but also I found there were times going through it that I honestly felt tired, like I didn't always want to do. I felt tired physically and emotionally and physically. But what I recognize now from the resistance, is I felt feeling much lighter now. Much lighter, and that it was necessary to go through that with a trusted guide who had already worked the steps, to go through those very heavy parts and swampy parts, even though I had read inventory before. And so those were some of the obstacles. That said, I was also willing. I wanted relief. I wanted recovery, of course, just as we all do. I wanted to be more prosperous and free. So the other part is what has changed is that, okay, I felt so much lighter. I have felt so much lighter and encouraged since reading my step 4 and going through all the steps. The disease, my experience is that it makes me want to feel small, and it makes me wants me to feel miserable, basically. Wants me to stay caught in the illness and live small and alone. It's a big part is feeling alone and separate, feeling alone with these feelings. What helped reading to the sponsor was to know I wasn't alone, and that I was also reminded that underneath I was just affected by a disease, that I'm not the worst person in the world. I'm not the greatest or the most. I'm a good person with a good heart, and I have things to offer. And the other part of step 4 was seeing and reading step 5 is not just the things that are difficult, but seeing the good qualities that are hidden underneath and the good things I've been doing. Just as I recognize that it's not black and white, and just like my family, it was not. They're good people. My parents, my dad now has passed away, but they tried, and they're good people. They just had the disease. Or my dad did. My mom was affected by it. So I see how that also could really see the good qualities in myself by underneath the shadowy stuff. So, and over time, I have, it's miraculous. I do know that a lot of that, the psychic shift, as we call it in recovery, comes from that sharing with another, ourselves, and the higher power. And knowing that it's okay. We're all, that I'm just another member of the human race with good qualities and difficult qualities, but I'm a spiritual being, most of all. And no one can take that away from me. So I hope that helps you.
Thank you so much. You caught my tongue with this shift of psychology. I just want
yeah. It's all worth it. It's all worth it because, we are, and learning to enjoy life more, like learning and showing up, being present, not having that veil of shame in front of me, between me and life. Like being just present, like right with you, like right in life in the moment. Not living in the past so much too. Or future. Good. Anybody else? Or any other questions or comments? That was a good question. I think you're muted, Leanne.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you, Paul. Maria, I would love to know if you have any questions. And there are no silly questions.
No silly questions.
Honestly, I don't understand yet how it works. And I think I should read some literature before, because I notice that I don't understand anything almost. But I would be happy to find a sponsor or this person with who you can do something together.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about question. How do you think? Is it possible for a person with background like we have to have happy family in future?
Is it possible to have a happy family in future? You mean with the spouse and children, or our parents, or both? Do you think? I'm not sure.
I mean, with children and
with children and a spouse, or those things.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very good question too, and because I do think this program is holistic and encompasses not just work, but just being a human and alive, a human being and a spiritual. And I do feel now, granted, more this program, in my experience, relates to my earning and my creative contributions to the world, a higher power, and how I work with others and as a service to others, as a professional, and I offer the gifts I've been given, and then receiving, but those things also, as I contribute, and I actively contribute, and I have to keep the balance with my spouse and making time for our relationship, and is important, because one of my symptoms is to be a workaholic or crash and burn, get overdone or over. So what helps me is what the part that addresses for me with this program under Earners Anonymous is that it's important for me as a human being, to be earning and prospering. I also need to be living, and because it's like life is a breathing in and out. I need to put energy out, and then I receive. I put energy out, and then I receive. But it's life. It's breathing, inhale, exhale. So part of that is learning this program has helped me to know that I'm worthy of having a loving family or friends or a partner. And with my own partner, we've been together a long time, but to have a more harmonious relationship. And one of the living amends, it's down the ways in our steps, the 9th step, but has been to be in this program with my spouse, so that I can be more actively contributing in different ways, not just work, but also helping out at home, doing my best to be a supportive partner. And but also there's the other programs, of course, like Al-Anon, that have helped me a lot, I will just say, with my relations with family, having a home life and a healthier home life. And that's an outside thing, but I have to mention it because without that program, I don't know, that one is very helpful to me. And also, we've been affected by a disease, how to learn to live detach from the disease. But it is possible, yes.
What is the name of this another program?
Well, I'll just mention it's called Al-Anon.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Anon. I know it's an outside issue, but you're mentioning about the family, cultivating a family or those things, and I have to mention it because that's where I originally come from, and might not even be alive today if it wasn't for that program. That program saved my life. I probably wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for that program. Yeah, and so yes, there is a lot, but this program can really help too. And we have Zoom, so meetings all over the world, and that those feelings of being affected. There's so many people that have that. You're not alone. Yeah. Yes. You're welcome. Great question. Claire, C from France?
Yes, but I can't. Wait a minute. Now I don't see the.
Mm-hmm.
Voilà. Okay. Yes. Thank you all. Voilà. Thank you all. Thank you, Paul. Wait a minute. I want to be with the camera. You see where I am. It's very, very cold here. Thank you all for the meeting. Thank you, dear Rina, because you are the cause of why we have a meeting here. And thank you to Leanne who opened the meeting, and thank you to all the let's say the team in the US. So I am here. I show myself the way I am. I live in a house that is kind of cold now. We are also now in Europe experiencing the consequences of the war in Ukraine. And but I feel hot because I feel like I am closer to my dear friend Rina, Mm-hmm. So I don't care about being hot, about being cold and whatever. So the question is, it's about you mentioned Paul, overworking and exhaustion. Yes. My question is that I love to work. I have been since 22 years, back to something I negated to me for during a brilliant career that I did. And so my passion is music. My activity where I earn money is teaching. But most of my time, and I track my time in UA, is about composing, practicing, singing, whatever. When I do that, I am happy. But my situation is that I work alone. I don't have a group anymore. And I am okay when I am alone. I am working also with my therapist about really enjoying my music and all that. But when I hear about exhaustion, about things like that, I feel I am losing my certitude of the fact that when I practice, when I do music, I am okay. I mentioned I have no kids, I have no husband, and for the moment I don't feel the need of that. So it seems that music is my lover. And so please tell me that it's not wrong. It's a question.
What is the question?
The question is that, is it okay to be single and spend most of my time practicing my music?
Yeah,
Right.
I think it is.
Thank you.
I think it's great. Because, it sounds like you've had this love, like a life love with it. And I know that one of the beautiful things, I have many friends that are single and do wonderful things, projects and creativity, or just being alive. And honestly, take what you like and leave the rest. But really, one of the things that I love about the 12 steps and this program under Earners Anonymous has really helped me again to rediscover is that I get to be who I am, and each of us gets to be who we are, and we get to understand the nature of our nature and where we are, and just enjoy the presence of wherever it is. So if it's the mystical presence of music and God, or divine mother, the divine feminine, or whatever you call it, the higher realm, but the creative, that's a relationship to me. The create art is a relationship too. And, for me, the writing has become very, I'm newer at this. I've only been at it since the lockdown, but I'm really enjoying it. And so I think that one of the things that really is important is learning to set my own standards and not to look externally. And it goes for everything. We have people in that their goal or their direction is to become, six-figure income in this program. Others struggle, but are living more bohemian and have a beautiful, creative, robust creative life, or they're dedicated more to the, a more rigorous spiritual path that is less about money. But it's all about, each is us as individual. And the most important thing is, to me, the relationship is with the, whatever you call it, the higher realm, spirit, the soul. And then, absolutely, I think it's great. I think it's each of us gets to find what works best for us. What's right for our nature, our soul today. And it might have been different. Maybe we were busy with lovers or partners at one time, but then maybe that's not what the higher power needs of us right now.
Thank you so much.
Hope that helps. I think it's, yes. The other thing is, you know what? I loved what I did when I was young, and then as I got older, because of the effects of the disease with the artistic stuff, I got where I couldn't do it. It was so painful. And because of UA, now it's in a different direction, but I love what I do again. Like, it's the writing, and it's more nonfiction, but it's okay. I love the creative force, and to me, it's that if anyone can have that, it's such a blessing to have that. It's such a gift to have that enjoyment that you have with the music you have.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Such a blessing.
If I may add something, I am right now, working the steps again with my dear sponsor.
Good.
And I know I need to struggle to stick to what I believe is good for me, because it's like, for me, the program is beginning to help me reaffirm the choices that I have made 22 years ago. And there are many, let's say, obstacles of my disease that say, no, don't go there, you are going to be broke, or things like that. And it's so I really appreciate heartfully your encouragements, because as you say, we are all different in UA.
We all are. We're unique and wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Great question. It's a great question. Yeah, congrats on the beautiful. That's wonderful music. Rena, did you have your hand up again or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I have. So, if we speak about the conscious contact with higher power, practice it regularly, I just want to ask your own experience. Maybe you have your own way of taking into decisions.
My own way of practicing conscious contact with a higher power?
How do you develop your intuition through the instruments of conscious contact?
Oh, good question. Very good question.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So, okay, let me take a little pause there. It's been a process, of course, and it's an ongoing life process. A relationship with the higher power, higher realm, is spirit. I'll call God, but we call it whatever works for us. Is a relationship like any other, and so I, over time, and as I make, but a day at a time, I have to just take it a day at a time. And it's not about my relationship with the higher power yesterday or a year ago or 10 years ago. It's about right now. And and for me, it's about making one day at a time, keeping it simple, making space for the higher realm. And each day I say it out loud or pray. Sometimes I'll read it. I used to read it out loud every day, but now I'll in my meditation and prayer, I do meditate. I didn't meditate when I was many years ago, but now I do meditate regularly, and that helps a lot. And if I'm not sure if meditation is challenging, it was for me years ago, and can still be, but not as much, nearly as much. You can put a timer on, like just making even a space for 5 minutes to be still. If you to just maybe take that time just to be still and listen and feel, and we have an open, making space in the heart, my heart, and doing, saying the first 3 steps. I'm powerless over under earning. My life become manageable. To believe a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity, and I'll make a decision to turn my will and my life over. And I will say that because my will is so strong. Even after years of recovery, I need to keep those grooves of surrendering my ego and my self-will, my fears and everything, and my agenda. And then, now, this is how I was raised in recovery. Not everybody may have this, but the 11 steps sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only knowledge for God's will for me and us and the power to carry it out. I can, and I like now that we use the word God in it, or it could be that whatever you can say it. It's just making just like a friend. To look at it like making time for a friend. If I don't make time, it's gonna be harder to have that connection. So kind of making space each day and being totally honest. Like if I'm feeling scared, just say, I'm God, I'm a higher power, I'm feeling scared, I need help. Guide me and help me. And also what's really helped me, Rena, is this has taken time, but in opening that the spirit realm is not just out there. It's like not out. It's also inside. It's in my soul. It's guiding my soul. It's guiding, and when I open, it's guiding my life. And when I'm and then I can, and when I make the space, like just to try to do my best, and even if my mind is going, it's okay, but I'll just try to be still, make the space to listen. And even if it's just for a few minutes, then I'll start to feel more over time. I feel now, I know it's much stronger, but my intuition. And that's where also increases my inner guidance. It's making time and sitting in the space. And over time, it becomes very sacred. I mean, it is sacred. It's all sacred. But it becomes something more enjoyable and something I look forward to. And honestly, I'm just, sometimes I'll just take the hands to the heart. And there's times when I'm feeling more anxious and stressed and just like a kid but just can say, it's okay. I love you. Talking to that child inside that's scared. And honestly, just like a child praying, like, I need help, or thank you and gratitude too. And thank you, help. Those are my two main prayers I can do. So I hope those help. And also the willingness to carry it out. We say let go and let God. It's something a friend of mine said at a meeting once. It really helped me. I let go, but then I can also sometimes it's the harder part to allow, because that means I have to receive. I let God or the higher power in to guide me. I let. Because, I'm a child of God. I'm worthy. We all are. And the higher realm wants to help us. Yeah, to move through whatever we're experiencing, whatever challenges. Yeah. So I hope that helps.
It's an amazing thing that I wrote 4 questions for you. I asked you, and you answered 4.
Oh! Great. Good.
Fantastic story.
Oh,
Thank
of course.
Great.
All good.
Great.
And it's like, just knowing also it helps is just, it sounds corny, but sometimes I just give myself hugs. It's challenging to say, I love you. It's okay, and because we all are worthy of love, and we're all beings of love, even if we don't know it all the time. And the disease, the illness, not just in us, but other outside, it's trying to contract, but our real nature is, we are, we're actually are just opening and God, help me to be a channel, like that St. Francis prayer, let me be an instrument of your joy, your love. Help, God, today, just help me to be a channel. And even if I'm feeling the resistance, or I'm going through this step and it's challenging, but help me to be a channel. And also with the 4th step thing and 5th step, guide my pen. Just guide my pen. I would do that. I'd write at the top of the page and just being a channel. Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
Huh?
It's absolutely true. I do feel like we are a great global net and channels. It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And remembering, one thing that also helps is that sometimes I've gone through these things like, well, who am I to spend this time meditating? Or who am I to be doing this creative? Who am I? But you know what? I was thinking about the music too, that when I share these gifts, it's like, it's a generous thing. The Spirit can move through me and give encouragement to others. And also the earning too, that when I earn or allow the earning to live, then that'll help me to continue and inspire others, and also help me to be able to serve, be of service. So it's all that's the But the support, because of the disease, makes me want to close off your loan. So the support, that's why we have things like the Zoom meeting or other support to help each other. Yeah. Anything else? We're about 5 minutes, and then I got to scoot. These are great questions. Yeah. Very deep.
I have a question on behalf of Maria, but for the newcomer in all of us.
Yeah.
What 3 things would you tell someone who's new to do?
Great question. Pray and ask, be guided and ask, find someone, actively seek a sponsor who's already worked the 12 steps of UA and who seems to be living teaching the principles and walking the walk. Not probably perfect, but just in the recovery. Get to meetings. If you're brand new, get to meetings as you can. Try to get regularly to meetings, because you'll get the support and hear the messages, and you'll also connect with the people that you might be able to ask to be a sponsor. Pray. The other is read. I guess I'm going to have maybe do more than 3, but start to keeping track. Look for an action partner as well. Pray to be guided for someone, and it doesn't have to be the action partner you work with for the rest of your life, but pray like someone you can check in, ideally Monday through Friday, to and where you can go over like 3 actions for the day that are priorities, and not to beat yourself up if you don't do the actions. It's about the support. It's about support, accountability, and consistency, and to build the habit of doing these things, because there are little habits that we do that add up over time. And so meetings, number 1, I'd say meetings. Find the Zoom meetings you can get to. If you can find some meetings regularly, try to find a home meeting where you're there, and maybe eventually pick up some service, but get to the meeting, and where you start to feel you can connect with the group. And then and the work, when I say it's a step, sponsors will be working with the point that they will also help with the steps. And I would say, I guess I don't even know if that was 3 or not, but those are, and go to 3, and start tracking the time. Like, if you have a phone, start looking at the day and looking at how much time you're spending with each part of the day. That's very important, because many of us, myself included, have vagueness with time, and learning to be conscious of our time. Those are 3. There's also online, on the Under Earners Anonymous website, literature and recorded talks. They're in English, but they're recorded talks to listen to, many archived, hundreds and hundreds. So if you feel alone and there's not a meeting available, turn on that. You can listen and at least be hearing somebody sharing their experience, strength, and hope, to stay in that hopeful vibration and solution. Staying in a solution awareness. So those are I guess, anyway, I added that. Those would be the 3. Yeah. Well, my friends, this is a blessing. It's an honor to be here, and I have not been to visit Eastern Bloc, but I am part Latvian. I'm German, but also Latvian, and I am part Russian, but I'm praying for everybody there. And I will keep Ukraine especially in my prayers.